Everyone, this is Evan Jacobs, and you are watching Boxing Time TV. You can also follow me. Like I said, my name is Evan Jacobs. On Instagram, my handle is at Boxing Time with Evan. And I already did this fight, Thomas Hearns versus Marvin Hagler, a rematch, just because I was curious about it. But then I realized I made a mistake. I gave Thomas Hearns 5 more inches, and 5 more inches in height. And I just was, I was thinking about it. And also, I kind of made a mistake with Marvin Hagler. I didn't make him a southpaw. I made him a right-handed fighter. So redoing this fight because I thought about it and I'm just like, you know what, just redo it. So let's just get right to it. This will be the correct version, but I'm going to leave both up on this channel because I want you to sort of compare and contrast depending on how this fight goes. Because in the first fight, in the first rematch, Thomas Hearns just shellacked Marvin Hagler. So I'm just curious to see, what happens in this rematch. So let's get right to it. And we have everything is still the same. And let's get going. All right. So Hearns and Hagler come out, and already you saw when the tail of the tape. I believe I don't think that it was even as far as I remember. I'd have to go back and review that fight that I did. But yeah, it was not even, and right now it's sort of looking like more of same. These guys are meeting in the center of the ring, and the big thing is that oh, look at that. Hagler setting Hearns up, catching him with a sharp right hand. The two big things is that I made Thomas Hearns on the left side of the screen and Marvin Hagler on the right side of the screen. I kind of made them wrong. And hopefully this won't be happening again. I won't have to redo it like this, but I'm trying to run as accurate as simulations as I possibly can. And, if it's not accurate, I got to fix it. And the Hearns thing was a glaring thing. His reach was 78 centimeters, and I was very much, it bothered me because he can't be 5 inches taller than Marvin Hagler and beat Marvin Hagler the way that he did in that first rematch. It just bothered me. But right now, I gotta be honest, this is looking like more of the same. And Hearns is, landing to the body, and he's firing off the jab, and he's looking sharp, and Hagler's trying to counter. And ultimately, as we saw in that rematch, Hagler, that was not a good style for him. And like I said, you are watching Boxing Time TV. My name is Evan Jacobs, and my handle on Instagram is Boxing Time with Evan. And right now, Hagler's trying to go to the body. Seems like he's trying to set Thomas Hearns up. Hearns just wants to jab, and I'm wondering. I mean, I know that this is a computer simulation, but I'm just wondering if in that world of this game, Sierra Championship Boxing, and I'll talk more about the game as this fight goes on. I'm just wondering if Hagler learned something and is gonna make this a different fight. I mean, this is, in my opinion, the most realistic, and I spoke about this in the first match. This is the most realistic boxing game I've ever played, and I say that because at no point are you out of the fight. And I mean, I've had fighting against the computer where I've been very much ahead, and I've gotten hit and gone down, and it's over. And in any other boxing game, if you're beating on a guy and beating on a guy and beating on a guy, very rarely can they come back. But in this bout, in this game, they can. You are always in it. So that was an interesting first round. The judges are giving it to Hearns. One of them's giving it to Hagler, and another one's making it even. So let's just get back to this. So it's even after the first round. Another thing, I didn't change this for this fight because I didn't feel that it was that necessary. I gave Marvin Hagler, they ask you if the fighter's able to absorb hard punches, and I said, Marvin Hagler, yes. I put Thomas Hearns most of the time, and the reason why I did that is because other than the fight with Sugar Ray Leonard and that first Marvin Hagler fight, Hearns was not knocked out. And the thing is, if you look at Hearns' career, for a guy with supposedly maybe not the greatest chin, he was not knocked out that many times. I think it was only 3 times that he was knocked out. I could be wrong. I would need to look up his record. In fact, you know what? On my phone, as I'm watching this, I'm gonna go to Box. I'm gonna go to Box Rec and try to figure that out because I am curious about it. You know, I always um, I'm always curious about about how these things are going to play out. And right now, Hearns is landing. But you know, Hagler's busting him up a bit more on the inside. Oh, but Hearns just took 2 uppercuts. No, I'm sorry. Hearns just delivered 2 uppercuts to Marvin Hagler. So we're going to go to this, and I'm looking up Thomas Hearns. All right, so we're going to look at him, and so we're going to, oh man, landing really. Oh, I'm telling you, both these guys are just cracking each other. This rematch is looking more like the first fight than any of the other than the first rematch that I put together, and I would not be surprised. So Hearns, as I'm seeing here, he had 5. I know he had 5 losses over the course of his career, and he was knocked out. He was knocked out 4 times. It says. I'm trying to think. I knew he lost a split decision to Iran Barkley. I knew he was TKO'd by Iran Barkley. Yeah, he was TKO'd by Marvin Hagler, and he was TKO'd by Sugar Ray Leonard. So Box Rec, oh man, Hearns is landing on Marvin Hagler. It's like Hearns thinks that this is the same fighter that he fought in that first rematch, and yeah, no. As I'm seeing here, okay, apparently in the Uriah Grant fight, Hearns, I think they're saying that he retired. I did not know. I did not know that. I did not know. Oh, I don't remember him fighting Uriah Grant. But Thomas Hearns, in my opinion, when he was younger. Oh, and this round is just an even round. I think this is the both 58-58 after 2 rounds. You know, we're seeing some really good action here. Oh, look, and Hagler comes out. I'm telling you, I think making him a southpaw and changing the weight on Thomas Hearns is going to make this a much more interesting fight. I could be wrong. Um, you know, you never know. The same thing that happened in the first rematch could potentially happen now. But I'm telling you, I'm seeing a different Marvin Hagler. I'm seeing the same Tommy Hearns, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That first Tommy Hearns was really good, but you know, I just made, you know, it was just such a big mistake, and that's why I felt the need to correct it and, you know, share it with everyone here and post it and just let you all see, hey, this is, you know, what happens. And the thing is, if I'm wrong or if I do something wrong, I'll change it. And someone even called me out about the Vladimir Klitschko's Anthony Joshua fight, saying, hey, Joshua's been knocked down. He has stamina problems. Why did I give him full stamina? And maybe I'll even redo that fight. But I felt that this Thomas Hearns versus Marvin Hagler, it was such that I needed to fix it. And you know, there's some people that have been talking about the Gennady Golovkin Canelo Alvarez fight that I did, and they have issues with that. So I am basically just doing my best to make this as accurate as possible. I use BoxRec. I use YouTube videos to try to, you know, just try to get tails of the tape and try to get how they looked back at the time that fight was happening. And right now, what I am seeing is I'm seeing a Marvin Hagler that's trying to mix it up and trying to turn it into the fight that their very first fight was back in 1985. And I'm seeing a Thomas Hearns that wants it to be a rematch, and Thomas Hearns is gonna have to continue to land like that. And one thing that we saw in that fight was Hearns really, and Hagler's going to the body too, the Petronelli brothers, the people that train Marvin Hagler, man, that was their big thing. And I remember, when Roy Jones was champion and being so dominant, they said Marvin Hagler would have stopped Roy Jones in 6 rounds. They said, he would have pounded him on the hip. And I mean, I don't know if that necessarily is the case. I think Roy Jones is a class by himself, and Roy Jones moved a lot, and I think movers always gave a fighter like Marvin Hagler problems. But it's interesting to speculate, and that's another fight that I'm gonna write down. Probably won't get to it right away, and that's mainly because after doing 2 fights with Marvin Hagler back to back, I think I need to give the viewers and the users of this channel a break, as well as give the fighter Marvin Hagler a break on the computer. I'm kidding. I know he doesn't need a break, but come on, just trying to have some fun here. Well, right now, they're saying that Hagler's obviously tired. I thought Hagler did pretty darn good in that round, and this is going to be yet another even round. All right, so Hearns is breaking away by 1 point. This is looking very similar, although it is closer than that first fight. And if I'm Marvin Hagler, I try to make something happen. I mean, he really has to do something to Tommy Hearns to stop him, because once Tommy Hearns, we saw in that first rematch, once Tommy Hearns got confidence, it was a whole different ball game, folks. It was just, I mean, of the likes that I've never seen Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler never took a beating ever in the ring, and he probably has never taken a beating in a fight the way that he took. I mean, I'm sorry, in a computerized fight, the way that he took one in that rematch. If you have not seen that rematch, if you're just watching what is the correct rematch, which is this fight, I implore you, go back and watch the one. I put an asterisk next to it so that you will see that there were some flaws, and that was my fault. Although I can't believe that I made that mistake just because I'm telling you, Tommy Hearns wants this so much to be like the first fight, and it's shaping up like that. And even if it ends up going the same way, even if it's still a beating, while I don't like seeing Hagler take those kind of punches either in real life or in a computer, I'm glad to have redone it, because for me, it's about the integrity of Boxing Time TV. It's about the integrity of saying that I'm making simulations, and I know they are simulations, and I can get away with a lot. And I'm gonna have some fun with the simulations as we get around the holidays. So I'm gonna do some simulations with probably the most beloved fictional boxer ever, and that's all I'm going to say right now. They'll just be sort of surprises for all of you, just to enjoy. As we head into the final minute of the fourth round, Tommy Hearns is getting behind his jab. He's getting distance, and he's laying it on Marvin Hagler. And I mean, this is surprising in some regards, and in some ways it's not surprising, just because I mean, honestly, I don't know how much that size helped him, but I just didn't want to leave that up there like that. And I figured, why get rid of it? Don't get rid of it. Then you've wasted your time. That's the worst thing you can do in life, I feel, is waste time. Because ultimately, I think that everything, even our mistakes. Like I've always said, no creativity is ever wasted. There's never a point where it's like, you've been creative with something, no matter what happens with it, even if, as long as you did it, you didn't waste your time. Once again, you are watching Boxing Time TV. My name is Evan Jacobs. On the left side of the screen is Thomas Hearns. On the right side is Marvin Hagler. Let's see what the judges say about this. Hagler's now cut over the eye. Ladies and gentlemen, this is becoming a complete carbon copy of that first rematch, and Thomas Hearns is starting to break away. He is now up by 3 points in the rubber match between Thomas Hearns and Marvin Hagler. And I am just here commentating. I'm being objective as I possibly can be, and I'm curious to see how this shakes out. As you have Marvin Hagler kind of Right now, he's just against the ropes, and I mean, honestly, I'm not going to be surprised if we see Tommy Hearns just lay the beating on him. And Hagler took it. Hagler took it for 11 rounds. He went down 4 times, and so we could be in for another brutal affair. And if we are, then that is just the way that the cookie crumbles, folks. All right. Hearns is laying in the jabs. He's going to the body. We're in here, the 5th round. You are watching Boxing Time TV. Hearns is on the left side of the screen. Marvin Hagler is on the right side of the screen. And the thing about the thing about Thomas Hearns is that he's negated a lot of what Marvin Hagler wants to do. He's negated a lot of what Hagler was good at. And I think what Hearns sort of did that he did not do in the first fight, especially early in this fight, he got distance between himself and Marvin Hagler, so Hagler was not able to land. And as such, that distance is and so he did not fully engage. He didn't spend himself the way that he did in that first fight. And now he's still fresh. He's still got money in the bank, as they say, and he's spending it on the body of Marvin Hagler. Hagler right there shooting out the rights and the lefts and really, trying to set up Thomas Hearns. And honestly, with Hearns, I think he's so focused and so in the zone on this fight. There's not really a chance. I think when he fought Iran Barkley and was just cutting Barkley up and just beating him and just hitting him and whatnot, I think it was just a case of Hearns was beating him and Barkley just took him out. And it's gonna be interesting to see. That's another fight that I can make. Who would not want to see Duran versus Barkley 2? I mean, that could be an incredible encounter. I try to do 2 or 3 of these podcasts a week. And I have a list. I have, fights for years, but I still want submissions and whatnot. So please, if in the comments, if there's fights that you want to see, or email me, fairly easy to email. That will make it, I'm open to all suggestions as we move now into the 6th round. And Hagler has a cut over his eye. And, I'm not going to lie, I'm settling in here a little bit. Just expecting to see Thomas Hearns be as dominant as he was in the first rematch with the asterisk. So now both guys are coming out. Oh, but not as fast. And maybe there's signs of Hearns slowing down a little bit. And maybe this will give Marvin Hagler the incentive and the ability that he needs just to get in there. But oh man, Hearns is like an assassin in there right now. He's placing his punches very, very well. Very, very sharp, very, very crisp punches. The Motor City Cobra is definitely right. He is hitting Marvin Hagler with everything that he has, and this is becoming pretty much the same affair that we saw in that first fight. On the right side of the screen, we have Thomas Hearns. On the left side, we have Marvin Hagler, and what would be interesting is if there was a way somehow to do this live while I'm screenshotting it on like Periscope or something. Some way to get that on there. I don't know. I need to think about this. Because it'd be great to have interaction as I'm doing this. But then again, doing it 2-3 times a week, people probably get pretty darn sick of me. I have my friends and my loved ones that are around me. They get sick of being around me all the time. So I'm not surprised, if you would too. But then again, maybe you wouldn't. Well, whatever the case, this is just meant to be fun. These simulations are just, made by a boxing fan who just loves the sport. And, hey, look, I have this game that I love. I have the ability to enter the fighters. I have the ability to create intriguing matchups. I mean, why wouldn't I do it? I am Al Heyman, Bob Arum, main events, and Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions all rolled into one. Let's not forget about K2 Promotions, Tom Loeffler, and that great company. And, of course, you got to throw in Roy Engelbrecht, who I do work for as I do a simulcast broadcast. Now I do it with a gentleman by the name of Jason Medina. He does the Top Snap podcast, and we do it on USAFightNetwork.com. We also do it via Periscope. You can follow us at Fight Club OC. And man, Hearns is just tuning up Marvin Hagler here. The Motor City Cobra is being a mechanic in that ring, and he's fighting at a distance. He's fighting behind the jab, and he's using very good footwork. You saw how he just sort of shimmied his gloves, and it's the kind of thing that, I mean, in the first fight I was saying, Hearns does not want to be getting that close. He doesn't want to get caught with something on the ropes. I think Hearns at this point is so keyed in and so focused, he's darn near unstoppable. But you never know. And we are halfway through this second rematch between Thomas Hearns and Marvin Hagler. And Hagler has faded and is just not doing much. And we are seeing Thomas Hearns just beat him and yeah, Hearns has now taken what is looking at like an 11-point lead over Marvin Hagler, and I feel bad for Hagler. I feel bad for him because he really he was only 4 years older than him, but apparently this is just how this fight's coming off on the computer. It seems like Thomas Hearns' style just is owning Marvin Hagler. Oh man. Oh man. The thing is though, in order for Hearns to knock him out, Hearns is going to have to land in more of a succession of punches. And I would not be surprised if Hagler actually sees the final bell in this fight. As you know, Hagler had a gash over his eye, and they didn't stop it in that fight. And I mean, why would they stop it? Why would they stop it now? Hagler there trying to put the punches together. He tries to land the left and the right. It just Hearns blocks it. Although he does land a good shot to the body. That's the thing. If Marvin Hagler wants to beat him, he's going to have to let his hands go. If Marvin Hagler wants to beat Thomas Hearns, he's going to have to kind of go for broke. I mean, I think we're at desperation time, especially based on what I saw in the first rematch that you can also watch on here on Boxing Time TV. My name is Evan Jacobs, and you can find me on Instagram at Boxing Time with Evan. There is an asterisk next to that fight, and I'm going to change it so that it explains why there's an asterisk. What you are watching is the real rematch, the most realistic rematch that I can make based on the information available to me and based on when I made this fight happen. So technically, in my mind, or when this fight is supposed to be taking place, is after the first bout between Hagler and Hearns. So now Hearns is starting to. Oh man, Hagler just wobbles him. I'm telling you, he's taking so many straight punches, and Hagler's landing. I give him credit. He is landing. And this was a fantastic fight, a fantastic performance from both fighters. Well, not. I mean, hey, look, I give Marvin Hagler credit. He's obviously outgunned. He's taking a beating. It says a lot about him. It says a lot about his characters that he is still in there. And so far, I like what I'm seeing. And I'm telling you, man, Hearns is wobbled. Hearns is not in the greatest of shape. So we will have to see how this plays out as we head into the final 10 seconds. Oh man. Oh, he just keeps going to the body. Keeps going to the body. Let's see what's happening with Hearns' cut. Yep, it's still a cut over his eye. But, Hagler's not losing by momentous amounts of rounds. I mean, it started to be 10-8s and 10-7s, and Hagler, he is still in this, and things can always change, and so I'm not counting Marvin Hagler out. Although I think his chances are becoming slim and none, and slim just left town. Oh man, Hearns is jabbing. We have Thomas Hearns on the left side of the screen, Marvin Hagler on the right side of the screen, and as you can see, Hearns just owning Hagler on the ropes, keeping him there, and he's just throwing his vaunted right hand. He's jabbing him. He's setting him up, and Hagler just seems to just be open for it. And I mean, in Hagler's corner, you would think that they may stop the fight. The computer will stop the fight. If that cut gets bad, if that gash gets bad, this fight is over. And they're not going to care about who's ahead. It'll end it. But Hagler right there just clocks him, and then Hearns comes back and wobbles him, and it's just man, Hearns is just giving it to him, just landing with his right and his left and setting up, and it's almost like target practice for Thomas Hearns in there. The only issue is that Hagler's so tough and so durable, he's not going anywhere. And I think that's going to be sort of the tail of this fight. Hagler's not really going to go anywhere. And I'm not going to lie, I thought that making Hagler a southpaw and making giving Thomas Hearns the correct the correct height might make a difference. It's showing that it's not. I mean, Hagler's been mildly more competitive, but overall, I mean, he's still losing. Maybe not to the degree that he lost in the first rematch with the asterisk, but make no mistake about it, Marvin Hagler, God bless him, is losing. And we're in the final minute now of the eighth round, and Hearns is just putting on a boxing clinic. I never saw the fight, though I'd like to watch it. When Hearns fought Wilfred Benitez, I mean, I read about his footwork. I remember KO Magazine said his footwork was like when he fought was basically Michael Jackson did not have better moves than what Tommy Hearns had that night. Oh, and he just slams Hagler into the ropes, but Hearns does not want to get caught, and there's the potential. There is the potential for that to happen as Hearns is just teeing off on him now, and we'll have to see. But right now this is sort of the point in the first rematch where Hagler stopped doing as much, and it's kind of happening now. Everything in the first rematch is kind of happening. It's just happening a little bit differently. Judges are starting to give him 10-8 rounds. I give Hagler a lot of credit. I mean, he got knocked down 4 times in that first rematch, and he's still hanging in there now. He's behind by 20 points, and this is just it really is showing us more of the same, and I'm not apologetic in any way. I mean, this is how the fighters are made, and it's up to people if they want. You always can stop watching or click on something different. But I mean, I'm just saying, for me, I just wanted to be as thorough as I possibly could, and it just did not seem right. And I very much like what I'm seeing from Thomas Hearns, and I like the grittiness of Marvin Hagler, and I'm not going to be surprised if Hagler does not go down. And I mean, Hagler's in this, he's in this to a degree. And these two fighters are measuring each other now. Sorry, I got a text there, and I just had to sort of keep kind of, I had to check up on it as Thomas Hearns slams Marvin Hagler into the ropes. We're in the 9th round. Thomas Hearns on the left side of the screen, Marvin Hagler on the right side of the screen. My name is Evan Jacobs, and you are watching Boxing Time TV. You can find me on Instagram at Boxing Time with Evan. I want to figure out a way to incorporate this. I mean, it's in the link on my Instagram page that you can go to all these fights, but I'd like to somehow show some of these fights on that Instagram page, because we have Thomas Hearns right now. He's going to the body, but even his output has slowed a little bit as well. And part of me wonders if maybe Marvin Hagler has hurt him. Maybe there was one of those shots. Hagler is countering, And Hagler's doing everything he can to stay in this. And Hearns looks like he's slightly losing some of his sharpness. Oh man. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Hearns got countered, but then Hearns landed 2 hard shots as we're in the final 20 seconds of this round, of this ninth round. And Thomas Hearns is continuing to tempt fate, put on a clinic against Marvin Hagler, who's starting to throw some more punches. Oh, and he walks into it every time Hagler starts getting going. Every time I start to say that, Hearns negates it and lands a shot that stops Hagler dead in his tracks. You got to appreciate what it is that Thomas Hearns is doing in there. And Hagler just has a cut over his eye, and he's losing these rounds 10-8, and he's becoming hopelessly behind. Will things be different? Will Marvin Hagler see the 12th round? That's what makes this easy for me as we enter the championship rounds 10, 11, and 12. And I remember, this is interesting, in my opinion, when Thomas Hearns fought Sugar Ray Leonard, Leonard started really coming on the 13th and then the 14th. And that's when they had 15-round fights. And I remember they were interviewing Jose Sulaiman, and Sulaiman said that it was for the health of the fighters that they made fights 12 rounds. And someone interviewing him said, yes, but it's what happened in the later rounds, 13 and 14, that made the fights so special. And Sulaiman brought up an interesting point that we'll never know the answer to, but he said that had it been a 12-round fight, had that been a 12-round fight, Leonard would have still beaten him. He just would have done it sooner. And, I mean, I don't know how much I agree with that or believe that, but maybe that could be true, considering that Leonard knew he had those extra 3 rounds, 13, 14, and 15, to play with. But, I mean, because he really started coming on in the 13th and 14th, and once he had Hearns hurt, once he had Hearns where he wanted him, he was relentless. Just drinking some water here. Hagler's taking it on the ropes, but has yet to go down. I'm trying to figure out how the height difference has made it so Marvin Hagler has not gone down in this fight, nor has his gash opened up. But it's funny. Every time Hagler starts to do something, Hearns responds, and maybe that's also been the difference in this fight. Hearns on the left side of the screen will sort of get clipped by Hagler on the right side of the screen, and then just when you think Hagler might mount a volley, suddenly Hearns just slugs him like in the chin, and like right there, and Hearns slugs him to the body. It's almost like showing Marvin Hagler, there's no way psychologically I'm letting you back into this fight. Every time you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. You're going to pay for throwing. Oh, and Hagler's wobbled very, very badly. And Hearns right now is picking his shots, and he's right there. He kind of let Marvin Hagler off the hook. Hearns is going to the body, but he took a while. It took him a while to sort of regroup, and that is just not a good thing to do against marvelous Marvin Hagler. Oh, Hearns is going to the body now. This is we're in the final basically 10 seconds of this rematch, of the second rematch in a string of 3 fights between Thomas Hearns and Marvin Hagler. I guess this is a rubber match. Yeah, this would be a rubber match because Hagler won the first fight, Hearns won the second fight, so this is a rubber match. Now, as we get into the 10th, 11th, and 12th, Hagler's starting to really, really, really be behind, and the judges gave it 1-7, 10-7, 1-10-8, and 1-10-9. Let's go into the 11th round and see if Thomas Hearns can. Oh man! And he wobbles Hagler. But the thing about Hearns, and it could be because I made Hagler a southpaw, he's wobbling him, but he's not able to finish him. He's not able to catch up. And right now, I mean, give Marvin Hagler even more credit. He's withstood this. He's been a bit more competitive. And on top of this, he's not nearly as behind as he was. He's only behind 32 points because it's 297. And Hearns wobbles him. in this, the 11th round, oh, I'm telling you, Hearns is going to get up. Hearns will see the decision because I do not see Marvin Hagler knocking him down. It takes a lot for Marvin Hagler to knock him down, and I just don't see it happening. And I give Hagler a lot of credit. I think he's done a very good job of surviving. He's had a few moments, but overall, you got to give all the credit to Tommy Hearns simply just for putting on such a dominant performance again when the playing field was level, which is what this fight is. There's another fight on this Boxing Time page that has an asterisk for Hagler-Hearns 2, and this is the real one. The one with the asterisk, there was a mistake on my part. I made Thomas Hearns too big, too tall, and I made Marvin Hagler a right-handed fighter. And I know that he was ambidextrous, but I think he was always better fighting as a southpaw. And I believe he was a converted southpaw. I remember hearing the story behind that. You know, as we're watching this fight, why not sort of get into the lore of it as Hagler's just getting his butt kicked on the ropes. Oh, Hearns has him. Hearns has him right now. He could probably knock him down again. As we move now, oh, Hearns is just tattooing him. I was about to go and check out the story about Marvin Hagler converted southpaw, but he is just getting ripped against the ropes, and he is. I mean, if he is not bloodied, if he is if he does not have a gash after what he's taken in this round, my gosh, we're heading into the final 20 seconds. And why his corner has not stopped the fight is anybody's guess. But, so I'm opening this up as we head into the, oh, Hearns has a cut over his eye. This is interesting. Are we going to see something in this 12th round? Thomas Hearns is winning this fight, going away 10-7, 10-7, 10-8. Let's go into the final round and see. This has been, you know what? In many ways, this was a lot better than the first fight, at least as far as Marvin Hagler is concerned. He's cut Thomas Hearns, and who knows? Maybe had this been a 15-round fight, I'm not making that fight unless there's people demanding it. Because right now, I'm seeing a Marvin Hagler that potentially could be coming on a little bit. He just landed well. He landed really, really well against Thomas Hearns. Oh, Hearns cracks him against the ropes. All right, so I'm seeing this. So here's what it says right here. I'm on a bodybuilding forum, and someone's talking about it, and they are saying that, I guess they're talking about like MMA and fighting, and it says, Marvin Hagler is a converted southpaw. His strong punch was his right hook, which was strange. He fought in the southpaw stance, but his power punch was his lead hand, his weak hand. But his power punch was his lead hand. His weak hand was his left. So his power punch was his lead hand. So he led with the right hand, and his weak hand was the left. So I guess in the first fight that I put together, making him a right-handed fighter was fairly appropriate, even though he was a southpaw. All right, so he's just getting tuned up on the ropes, and I mean, Hearns is, for whatever it's worth, Marvin Hagler did cut him. He's in this fight. He's only gone down once, not 4 times. He really just took a beating as we head into the final minute of this round. And at this point, I just want Hagler to stay on his feet. I don't want him to go down again. I'm just rooting for him to make it to a decision. Thomas Hearns has gotten his victory. Thomas Hearns has shown that his boxing skills, at least within this game of Sierra Championship Boxing, at least in this game, is more superior. Oh, and look at that. Hearns is just tooling him and tuning him up and fighting like an assassin as he lands a right hand. Wow, wow. Oh, man. Hearns is going for it. Can Marvin Hagler land something? Can the great Marvin Hagler summon it within himself in the final 20 seconds? I don't see it happening. Even though anyone can be knocked out at any time in this game, I just don't see it happening. But you know what? You never know. Oh, man. Oh, man. So here, let's go right now for the decision. I think it's pretty academic at this point. We know that Thomas Hearns won it going away. But hey, Hearns was cut. And would it be ironic if Hearns, after 2 rounds, had a gash over his eye, and the few moments that Marvin Hagler connects, is able, kind of like Sugar Ray Leonard when he fought Roberto Duran for the 3rd time. Hold on, let's get it. Oh, winner by decision is Thomas Hearns. Not a surprise there. But hey, an interesting fight, not nearly as lopsided as that first contest. And, overall, look at the scores 120 to 100, 118 to 104, 119 to 106. The winner is Thomas Hearns by unanimous decision. The fight was 12 rounds. Hearns was not knocked down, but has a cut over his eye. Hagler was knocked down 1 time and has a cut over his eye. What I was saying was when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Roberto Duran, in the few moments that Duran hit him, he ripped open Leonard's face. Leonard should have retired after that. He never should have fought Terry Norris. But, hey, Leonard's a great fighter, and he did what he wanted to do. Thank you very much for watching Boxing Time TV. Thank you very much if you've watched both of these Hearns-Hagler fights. My name is Evan Jacobs. You can follow me on Instagram at Boxing Time with Evan, and we will see you next time. Not sure what that bout's going to be. I got a list of them coming, but thank you very much for watching.